On May 27, 2026, President Donald Trump sat in a televised cabinet meeting and issued a scathing threat, specifically targeting the Sultanate of Oman. The immediate consensus among journalists was that the president had suffered a geographic lapse. They assumed he meant to threaten Iran and had simply confused them with Oman, America's oldest and most neutral ally in the Gulf. But it wasn't a mistake. Trump was reacting to intelligence that Oman had ignored U.S. warnings and begun negotiating a transit fee system with Iran to monetize the ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent clarified the administration's position the following day. He warned that the U.S. would aggressively target any entity, including the Omani government, facilitating these new maritime tolls. This set the stage for a total diplomatic deadlock. The United States demanded a return to the free navigation rules of the past, while Iran declared that the old laws of the strait died with the war. For the captains of the 300 ships trapped in the Persian Gulf, this high-level standoff is a terrifying daily reality. They are currently facing an impossible choice every time they weigh anchor. If they follow U.S. advice and sail the traditional lanes near the Omani coast, they risk immediate seizure or attack by the Iranian Navy, which still considers those waters a combat zone. But if they bow to Iran, pay the required transit fee, and sail the Iranian-mandated lanes, they risk crippling U.S. sanctions and the immediate cancellation of their Western insurance policies. The world's most vital maritime chokepoint is effectively broken, paralyzed by two sets of laws that cannot both be followed. The legal basis for this crisis can be traced back to June 17, 2026. This was the day U.S. and Iranian officials met in the Hall of Mirrors at Versailles to sign the Memorandum of Understanding ending the war. Most analysts focused on the ceasefire, but the real impact was hidden in Article 5, the section governing the future of the Strait of Hormuz. In this clause, Iran promised to ensure the safe passage of commercial vessels free of charge, but they added 3 critical words to the end of that sentence, for 60 days only. By signing a document with a specific expiration date for free transit, U.S. negotiators inadvertently recognized Iran's sovereign right to charge for passage. This effectively turned a bilateral peace treaty into a mechanism that overrides traditional international maritime norms. This single bureaucratic loophole provided the legal cover Iran needed. They successfully argued that by signing the MOU, the U.S. had agreed that the strait was no longer a guaranteed free access waterway. To see how they enforced this on the water, we have to look at the pre-war map. For decades, shipping was split between 2 clear lanes, one in the north for incoming traffic and one in the south, near Oman, for outgoing ships. During the conflict, Iran shut the strait down by seeding these international lanes with thousands of anti-ship mines, making the traditional southern route impassable. After the ceasefire, instead of clearing the mines, Iran permanently closed the southern route. They established 2 brand new lanes located entirely within their own territorial waters, north of Larak Island. This new geography forces every commercial vessel to sail within point-blank range of Iranian Revolutionary Guard patrol boats, making them physically dependent on Tehran's permission. Without firing a single post-war shot, Iran physically shifted the route of global commerce, forcing vital shipping lanes into a space they control entirely. On May 5th, Iran formalized this control by establishing the Authority for the Management of the Strait of Hormuz. This body now serves as the administrative gatekeeper for the Gulf. This authority claimed a massive regulatory zone that stretches from Keshman Island all the way to the coast of the UAE, swallowing territorial waters that legally belong to Oman and the Emirates. Every ship entering this zone must now submit their cargo manifests, their crew lists, and ownership data to a Revolutionary Guard front company for security clearance to ensure no ties to U.S. or Israeli interests. Once the paperwork is cleared, the fee is collected. For the largest oil tankers, this permission to sail costs $2 million per transit. Despite U.S. sanctions and diplomatic protests from surrounding Arab nations, this system is now the operational reality on the water. Ships are paying the fees because they have no other way out. This new status quo is being driven from the top. Iran's new supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, has made it clear that these changes are permanent. Khamenei declared these tolls permanent war reparations, marking an official end to the era of free transit through the strait. Combining the physical threat of sea mines with the specific fine print of a peace treaty, Iran has successfully nullified the international laws that previously governed these waters. Every barrel of oil and container of goods exiting the Gulf now carries an Iranian surcharge, a permanent cost of business established by force of arms and a 60-day deadline and an armistice.
For decades, the Strait of Hormuz has operated under a simple premise: any ship from any nation can sail through completely free of charge. Now, a massive toll gate is slamming down across that open waterway. Iran's supreme leader is directing a strict new policy phase. The plan is straightforward: extract financial fees directly from the commercial vessels navigating this choke point. The target here is massive. Nearly 20% of the world's daily oil consumption passes through this exact corridor, carried by colossal tankers that keep the global economy running. The era of zero-cost passage for global energy supplies is rapidly closing. In its place, we are seeing a unilateral demand for payment. United States officials immediately rejected the proposal. In late May, Secretary of State nominee Marco Rubio publicly condemned the idea of Iran collecting fees in the strait. Rubio pointed out a glaring geographical risk. If Iran successfully levies a tax on ships passing their shores, every other country bordering a vital maritime route will demand the exact same right. If other nations follow suit, the core model of free maritime trade fractures, replaced by a global network of competing national toll booths. To understand how they can legally do this, look at this map of the Strait of Hormuz. A baseline rule of international maritime law dictates that a sovereign nation controls the water that extends exactly 12 miles outward from its coastline. So you have Iran in the north and Oman in the south. But at its absolute narrowest point, the entire strait is only 21 miles wide. Those two 12-mile territorial zones physically crash into each other, overlapping right in the middle. Because of this overlap, any vessel entering or exiting the Persian Gulf is forced to navigate directly through either Iranian or Omani territorial waters. There is no neutral path left to take. International law and physical geography have accidentally collided, handing Iran and Oman a legal, unavoidable chokehold over global shipping. There is a major hurdle. Article 26 of the 1982 UN Convention on the Law of the Sea strictly prohibits nations from charging foreign ships merely for passing through their territory. To bypass that ban, Iran and Oman recently drafted a Memorandum of Understanding. Clause 5 of that document outlined a brand new framework to manage the strait. The document carefully avoids the illegal term transit fee. Instead, it requires ships to pay for what they classify as mandatory services, environmental mitigation, and navigational security. By simply swapping out the vocabulary from transit to services, the two nations are successfully subverting the legal protections built into the constitution of the oceans. On the water, this new system is already taking shape. The Iranian Management Authority is now demanding that all ships submit detailed data 48 hours before arrival, while requiring them to carry an Iranian-approved insurance policy. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps backs these rules with physical force. Their personnel patrol the strait in armed speedboats, dictating exactly which lanes these massive cargo ships are allowed to use. Right now, there is a catch. Under a 60-day pause tied to ceasefire negotiations, the Iranian government is actually providing these mandatory insurance policies completely free of charge. This 60-day window serves a specific strategic purpose. It forces international shipping firms into a new administrative routine before the real billing cycle begins. Neighboring Gulf states immediately pushed back. The UAE, Kuwait, Qatar, and Bahrain have all flatly rejected the implementation of this fee structure. Saudi Arabia's foreign minister made their position explicit, stating that the pre-war management of the strait worked perfectly well, and that Iran's newly proposed mechanisms have zero justification. Regional powers view these changes as a direct Iranian play for leverage over the local economy. Then Donald Trump entered the conversation with an unexpected reaction. Trump didn't object to the idea of a toll. Instead, he argued that the United States should be the one collecting the money, extracting it as compensation for acting as the military landlord of the Middle East. This flips the entire dynamic of the conflict. The focus shifts away from defending international law, turning into a raw standoff over which military power gets to run the collection booth.
The global debate surrounding the Strait of Hormuz is no longer about keeping the oceans free. It is a battle to secure the monopoly on taxing them.